Welcome to Vedic Astronomy Initiation and Exposure classes. In Step 11, our focus is going to be upon the initial flow direction and its reversal. Lagd Jyotish Vedant, Rig Lagd Jyotish Vedant is of 36 shlokas range, and Yajurved Vedant is of 44 shlokas range. Value 36 gives us organization 6 square, and 44 gives us an organization 22 plus 22. Value 22 accepts an organization 4, 5, 6 and 7, fourfold manifestation layer of hypercube 6. As such, 6 space in its transition from linear order to a spatial order is the reach format of Rigved, Lagd Jyotish Vedanga, and hypercube 6 as a pair is the reach which is of the format of the Yajurved Lagd Jyotish Vedanga. From these features, one fact which prominently comes to focus is here is a 6 square, a value 2, a spatial order, and here it is H6 and H6, a pair of formats. Therefore, in both cases, value 2 is in a prominent play. From here, we shall make a note that the first indication of the focus upon value 2 is that we shall try to have a simultaneous reading, understanding, comprehension of pair of shlokas. So 2 shlokas at a time deserve to be read. So first and second shloka should be read together, third and fourth shloka, then fifth and sixth shloka, and the seventh and eighth shloka, and so on. So it is in 22 steps that this chase could be there. And this 22 steps chase in a way will help us have a format hypercube 6 chase. Now this reach in 22 steps, we see that at 21st step we will be having a reach up till shloka 42. And shloka 42 is the shloka which preserves the knowledge, enlightenment, as that the Kal Gyan, the knowledge of time. This Kal Gyan is time knowledge as it is being taken here as a Panch Sanvatsar, so 5 years duration as a time unit, or time personification, Kal Purush as it is here essentially in linear format, which is of steps 1 to 1830 steps long range of 1830 days duration as a time unit, a linear unit. Now in shloka 42 it is preserved that it is this knowledge which will be availed as a format for the subsequent yugas as well. So at the subsequent unit as well, the same knowledge, same values, features will come into play. So let us make a specific note that when from a line linear format we will be transcending ahead to a spatial format, even then the same will same linear organization will come into play, as that we know within a surface as well the progress is going to be as a interval and a square, or as a single axis and as a pair of axes. It is this feature that when we can have an organization along a linear axis, then the same knowledge can be applied in the similar format way as a pair of axes. So reach from single axis setup to a pair of axis setup is to be reached at in the same manner with the same values and formats. And one can further have a pause here and take note that value 42 is in fact the value of a 2 space in the role of dimension of a 4 space. So it is going to be reached at the spatial order. Further, we know that value 42 is equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 transcendence range, then a second transcendence range of the spatial order, and this way the synthesis value will be giving 2 as a glue synthesis give reached value 42. So value 42 is the value of a synthesis value of a pair of spatial order transcendence ranges. Therefore, shloka 42 reaches at a conclusion, preserves the enlightenment, as that the Yuga Gyan, the time unit as 5 years duration as a time unit, is going to be a working format for the subsequent units as well, and as such it is in infinitely many steps. The entire timeline is to be exhausted. Therefore, it brings us face to face with the inherent potentialities of this format. Now, before we go a step ahead to shlokas 7 and 8, as in the previous steps we had in step 10, our focus has been upon shlokas 5 and 6. Therefore, before we take up shlokas 7 and 8 for the initial flow direction and its reversal features, let us again have a visit to the shloka 1, which is a Praman and Pratigya. So at the initial stage we have Pranam, we salute the ancient wisdom, and the value Pranam, formulation Pranam, we know is of TC value 36, which means it is equal to 5, 6, 7 and 8. As such, the 5 space in the role of a dimension. That means the 6 space is having a enveloping within a transcendental space, 5 space enveloping it, and it is from here there is going to be a takeoff, and this takeoff would mean that 5 space will be playing the role of a dimension, and hence there will be a structuring of the entire outer space as of the format of hypercube 7, the representative regular body of a 7 space, that is of the pole star Dhruv. Therefore, we have to salute this ancient wisdom. So at the initial stage, when we are initiating ourselves for exposure to the knowledge, wisdom of the Lagda Jyotish Vedanga, then at the first step we have to salute. We have to salute the ancient wisdom, and then we have to make a pratigya. Now pratigya means we have to have a solemn declaration. We have to assure ourselves that we will be following this ancient wisdom. And here we know it is a value 7, it is 6 and it is 12. It amounts to 25. And 25 we know is equal to 5 square. And we know this value 25 is the value of the formulation Vishnu. And it is also a formulation of a Prithvi. Therefore, our solemn declaration, our solemn assurance to ourselves is that we will follow this ancient wisdom, and with it we will be reaching at the revolutions of Earth, the Earth in motion in our solar universe, and the knowledge, the timeline as it is going to be chased by us. So this is going to be our pratigya. So pranam and pratigya, what is what for? We saw it is for a Jyotish Gyan. Now, therefore, the Jyotish Gyan, so the knowledge of the Jyoti is going to be the chase steps of our. We salute the ancient wisdom. We have a Solomon affirmation for ourselves that we will be following, we will be acquiring, we will be face to face with the Jyoti Gyan. The knowledge, the timeline of the Jyoti will be followed. At the next step, shlokas 3 and 4 are bringing us face to face with the Jyotish, the how we can appreciate the values of Jyotish. It is this discipline, this range of values are going to be chased, and what we know in shloka 4, that Ganit, we have to know the mathematics of the Jyoti. Therefore, our salutation to the ancient wisdom and our Solomon affirmation to ourselves that we will be chasing is the chase of a Jyoti, the mathematics of the Jyoti. A step ahead at shlokas 5 and 6, we have seen that we have now reached at the initiation point. Therefore, we have settled the starting point of a yuga. This starting point has been settled as of a Magh month. So, in this way, we are putting up that how we shall be beginning, how our yuga is to be initiated. And in shloka 6, we have settled that the sun, Surya, Udday, moon, Chandra, Udday are to be simultaneously at the same point. So the starting point of the yuga is the common starting point of this solar calendar as well as of a moon calendar. Both calendars will have a beginning like this. And then we know that the value 2 is to be availed, means the year, the Varsh, the Sanvatsar is going to be chased as a pair of ayans, Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. Further, the mass, the month, is to be chased as a Shukal Paksh and going to be a Krishan Paksh. As such, the beginning is going to be with the Uttarayan, and of it as also it is going to be of a Shukal Paksh, and that means the first day. It is this way that shlokas 5 and 6 fix our starting point. Therefore, we shall revisit shloka 1 and shloka 2 together with a focus upon Panch Sanvatsar as a Prajapati being the Yuga Adhyaksh. Now, here the Paranam is, our salutation is to this ancient wisdom, and our Pratigya, our Solomon affirmation to ourselves is that we will be understanding this particular knowledge. Thereafter, the steps ahead at shloka 3 and shloka 4, we will be reaching at that what we are understanding is a Jyotish. It is this Kal Gyan which is being understood, which is to be followed, and which is to be chased, which is to be imbibed, and it is the mathematics of it. Therefore, it is the mathematics of the Jyoti which is being worked out, and then at a step ahead, we know the beginning of the Yuga is going to be with the Magh month, and this step as it is going to be is helping us to take that the swaras, the vowels, will be going to be in a sequence. So the chase with such beginning point is to be chased when the vowels are to be taken in its sequential order. So from the first vowel to the ninth vowel as such would mean a dimensional frame of one space to a ninth space. Therefore, these dimensional frames the space is being equipped with these dimensional frames, and these dimensional frames are to be chased in a sequential order. So from one space as a one-dimensional frame of a single dimension to two space of a pair of dimensions, then three space as a triple dimensions, and like that at nine space as a set of nine dimensions. So these dimensional frames are going to be available to us, and we have to sequentially follow. So when we will be beginning like this, when our starting point is settled with the Magh month, then we will be having chase in a sequential way, and this sequential chase is going to be of a sequential dimensional frames. So we are chasing this space with a sequence of dimensional frames of one space to nine space, first vowel to the ninth vowel. It is this phenomenon, it is this feature, it is this value, it is this format, which is going to be the basic value and a format which we have reached at up till the shlokas 5 and 6. Today our focus is going to be at the shlokas 7 and 8. Now these shlokas 7 and 8, we know that up till shloka 5 and 6 we have settled the starting point. We have settled this, that may it be sun, rising of a sun, or may it be rising of a moon, in both cases, and may it be the dimensional frames, the space being equipped as nakshatras, means as value 27, as value 3 to raised to power 3, as a three-dimensional frame of half solid dimensions. It is this format which is going to be available for this solar universe as well as for the moon lunar space. Therefore, it is going to be a synthetic setup of a three-dimensional frame of solid dimensions, and it's split into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half solid dimensions. As such are going to be the 27 nakshatras of Surya and 27 nakshatras of the Chandra. So this setup is the setup as it is. This is having an exhaustive coverage of this space. This space is being covered by a synthetic setup of a three-dimensional frame of solid dimensions, and the synthesis here is going to be of these solid dimensions. These are half solid dimensions. So this makes 27 nakshatras of moon, and it makes 27 nakshatras of the sun. With this synthesis, it is this synthesis which is there because of a Jyoti. We know Jyoti is of TC value 18, and we know 18 is equal to 3, 4, 5 and 6. It is a fourfold manifestation layer of hypercube 5, the representative regular body of 5 space with 3 space in the role of a dimension. Therefore, the synthesis and split both ways of the three-dimensional frame of solid dimensions into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half solid dimensions is the phenomenon, is the comprehension, is the reach of the Vedic system. The ancient wisdom as it is approaching a solid dimensional frame of 5 solid dimensions of a 5 space. Now it is this solid dimensional frame of 5 dimensions which is being synthesized. It is this synthesis of the Surya nakshatras and of the Chandra nakshatras which is the feature, which is the phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended well. Before we proceed further, it will be blissful to take note that cube hypercube 3 is the representative regular body of a 3 space. We know 3 space is playing the role of a dimension of a 5 space. Further, we know that this 3 space, as this cube, it gives us 8 corner points, then it gives us 12 edges, then gives us 6 surfaces, then we are having 3 dimensions and we are having 1 value. This makes us total components as a 30. These 30 components are the basic components in terms of which this timeline is going to be changed. The value 30 as it is provides us a value 5 into 6. Now it is this value 6 which is going to be a prominent factor. So there are 5 factors of value 6 each. In this background, let us now have a reach at Shloka 7. But before that, it also will be blissful to take note that when we will be having a visit to the internal structure of a cube, it will be sequentially taking us to that at the first stage we know that there are 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions embedded in each of the corner points. Now these 8 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions get coordinated by the internal diagonals. So there are quadruple internal diagonals. Quadruple internal diagonals are there. Therefore these become the translation paths. These translation paths of the quadruple internal diagonals will in fact be synthesizing at the center a pair of 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions, and with it we'll be getting 4 set up as 4 3-dimensional frames. And the 5th 3-dimensional frame is already be available at the center, because of which we are having a structure of a cube. It as such makes a setup of 5 solid dimensional frames. Therefore, the internal structure of the cube is of a 5 solid dimensions, and the structural components are 30 in number. This feature of 30 structures and this feature of a 5-dimensional frame sustaining this structure. It is this pair of structures, it is this pair of features, it is this pair of values which deserve to be comprehended well. Therefore, one shall sit comfortably and let us revisit these features and let us enlist these features. Open a new page and enlist these features. Once we will be having enlistment of these features, then we will be revisiting the Shloka 7. The Shloka 7 as it is giving us, preserving a value as that the initiation was for the rising of a sun. This initiation was also for rising of a moon. This initiation had been there. Now this flow, this initial flow as it is in the Uttarayan, in the northern hemisphere. Now this rise, this initial flow, the direction of this initial flow is in the northern hemisphere, and this flow is in progression for this is progression, and this progression is going to be in the northern hemisphere, but up till a particular step, up till a particular stage, and thereafter there is going to be a reversal, and this reversal, therefore initial flow is in the northern hemisphere, and it will be after some steps will be having a opposite direction as of a southern hemisphere. It is the Shloka 8 which will help us appreciate, which preserves the knowledge that this flow is going to be 6 for a 6 Mahurat duration. One shall preserve the reach up till this. The initial flow is going to be of the direction of the northern hemisphere. The initial flow direction is of the northern hemisphere. This initial flow of the northern hemisphere direction will ultimately have its reversal of the direction of the southern hemisphere. Therefore, at initiation stage, the flow is of the direction of a northern hemisphere. Thereafter, it will, of its own, with the inherent potentiality and features and a format, will have a reversal of the orientation, and it will be of the southern hemisphere. Now this flow, therefore this flow is of the increasing progression is going to be of 6 units, 6 Mahurats time. 6 units progression is going to be 6 units of time. This unit is a Mahurat. Therefore, it is 6 units, there would be a progression, and this progression is to be, as it is indicated, is going to be in a northern hemisphere in the Uttarayan, and thereafter there is going to be a reversal. After flow of 6 units, there is going to be a reversal, and this reversal, that means, will take us to the southern hemisphere. So it is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. At shlokas 5 and 6, it has been settled that the initial starting point for the solar calendar as well as for the lunar calendar is the same. Starting point is the same. Basic initiation point is the same. It is this initiation point at which the sun rising as well as the moon rising is going to be at the same moment. This initiation point is an initiation point for the flow, Jyoti flow. This flow is going to be at the initial stage within a northern hemisphere. So initiation point, so flow, initial flow is going to be of the direction of a northern hemisphere. So this flow is going to be of a direction of a northern hemisphere, and then inherently it is formatted that it will have a reversal, and this reversal of the orientation, reversal of the flow, reversal of the Jyoti flow is going to be in a southern hemisphere. Now the second feature here is that this flow, initial flow progression in the northern hemisphere is going to be of 6 units of time. Unit here is a Mahurat. We will be coming to it, how much this unit is, how this unit is related with another units. But for the present, it be taken that the initial flow progression continues for 6 units of a time, and this flow direction is of a northern hemisphere. Therefore, at the initial stage, there is going to be a flow within and as per the direction of a northern hemisphere, and after 6 units there is going to be a reversal, and this reversal will be of the direction of a southern hemisphere. Now for this we have to understand that this progression, initial progression, is like a progression of a daylight, and the reversal is going to be like a night darkness. So at initial stage there is going to be progression for 6 units, 6 Mahurats, and after 6 Mahurats there is going to be a reversal for again another 6 units, 6 Mahurats. Therefore it is this feature of the organization format of the chase of a timeline. The timeline is being chased as a progression for 6 units of time, and then there is going to be a reversal of 6 units of a time. Now further one can have a pause and take note that day and a night as such is being taken of total 30 units of time, 30 Mahurats. That means it is first progression will be for 6 units, then reversal will be for 6 units, then again there will be progressions for 6 units, there will be reversal for 6 units, and further again it is going to be for progression. So we started with a progression and it will again reach at a progression. However, when the second day and night will follow, then naturally we start with the reversal, then it will be progression, then reversal, then progression, and ultimately going to be again a reversal. Therefore, this pair of units, so pair of days, when pair of days, so pair of days and pair of nights, when there will be 2 days and 2 nights, when this 10 units of 6 units time each will be taken up, then we will see as if we are reaching at the initial position. Now, it is this feature which is to be absorbed, it is to be comprehended well, and then here we have further to see as to how this unit of Mahurat is going to be interconnected with the further units of the time, further flow, chase, steps. But here we know the entire unit is of as many as 1830 days, and here we are working with only 1 day. Therefore, this way we see that this timeline chase by this format of Lag Jyotish Vedanga deserves to be approached very gently, sequentially, and step by step, and it is by it we will be in a position to understand how this linear progression is there, though there is going to be a reversal at each step. For it we shall appreciate that if instead of a line, if we are moving along the circumference, then we can appreciate that when we are moving along a diameter, there is going to be linear progression. However, when we will be moving along the circumference, then we know when we reach at the other end of the diameter, then thereafter there is automatic reversal of an orientation. It is this reversal of orientation along the circumference which is the feature. It is this feature of inherent reversal of the orientation when one is progressing along a circumference. So when we are chasing the timeline along a diameter and parallelly we are having a chase along the circumference, then we also have to take into account the reversal of orientation going to be. It is this reversal of orientation at the length of the diameter. So we are progressing as a timeline along a diameter, and simultaneously we are having a chase along the circumference, and it is this chase along the circumference which brings in the reversal of an orientation. Still further, we are splitting a sphere into a pair of hemispheres or pair of semicircles. So when this chase is going to be there, we know at the upper part, so at the lower hemisphere and at the upper hemisphere, there are going to be 2 parallel formats. So this format will give a reversal of orientation here, and the opposite, the reversal of orientation will be in opposite direction. Therefore, it is this pair of reversal, so going to be a reversal firstly from here to here, and then again having a reversal from here to here. It is this pair of reversals, it is this format of pair of reversals which is to be comprehended well. It is like this, that when we are moving on a line and when we are moving within a surface which gives us a line as well as the surface both. So when we are availing the spatial format, then here the linear format as well as the spatial format both would be available. Let us have a pause here. Let us sit comfortably. Let us revisit Paranam and Pratigya. Let us revisit Jyotish as a call Gyan. Then we should have appreciation of the values and features of a Jyoti. Then we'll see and reach at the mathematics of a Jyoti. Then we'll reach at the settlement of the starting point, and then we should reach at the reversal of the initial flow. In these 8 steps, these 8 shlokas as 4 steps, Like that we have to proceed further, and when we will be reaching at the 22nd step, that means when we are reaching at the 44th shloka, we will be having an end reach. However, a step before, at the 21st step, when we are reaching at shloka 42, then we will be having a enlightenment preserved, as that the linear chase format as a time unit of a Panch Sanvatsar is going to be applied for the subsequent yugas as well. And like that, there is going to be a infinite steps, and there will be exhaustive coverage of the entire timeline. It is this feature which also deserves to be comprehended well. Therefore, let us sit comfortably and let us revisit the shlokas 1 and 2 together, shloka 3 and 4 together, shloka 5 and 6 together, and shloka 7 and 8 together. So firstly we reached as shlokas 1 to 8 as shloka wise, then pair wise shlokas are to be read, and after the pair wise shlokas, then let us see that how we have settled the starting point of the yuga, and then we will see how the initial flow we have reached at a reversal. Therefore, the linear progression as is going to be there is simultaneously bringing us with a peripheral, a curvature, a circumference, a reversal of orientation as will come into play. Therefore, once we are observing that moving linearly, we are also simultaneously moving within a surface. So it is this simultaneous coverage of a linear progression and a spatial progression. It is going to be the basic feature of the format of a Lagd Jyotish Vedanga. Therefore, let us visit, let us revisit, let us enlist, let us properly enlist, let us have a comparative tabulations of these formulations, these features, these values, these formats, and only then we will be having a further step for progression. Let us go very gently, sequentially, step by step, and as is the organization format of the shlokas of the text itself. The shlokas of the text are the only format which is permissible for the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to glimpse and imbibe the values of the mathematics of the Vedic astronomy, as is preserved as a Lagd Jyotish Vedanga, and it is only on this foundation that we will be ultimately reaching at the both phases of the mathematics of the Vedic astronomy. Thank you very much.